Today's video will be about writing paragraph 3, how to prepare for the disaster. As I begin my third paragraph on how a community and yourself can prepare for a tsunami, I'm going to first look at all of my details. As I can see, many of my details talk about things that happened before, during, and after the tsunami. So in this case, I want to make sure that I include those things in my topic sentence. So as I begin, to stay safe, it is important to prepare for a tsunami before, during, and after it happens. As you can see, I have included all of the information in my details in an orderly fashion. So I know that my first detail will be about what happens before the tsunami. My next detail, number 2, will be about during, and my third detail will be about after it happens. So as I begin, I'm going to start with a sentence of my own that I'm going to put my own words about the before preparing. Being prepared before a tsunami comes will help you to be ready. Now I can list some of the details. For example, there's my transition word. Look for signs of a tsunami, like an earthquake, a loud roar, or unusual activity in the ocean. Now I'm going to talk about the last part of the details for the before, and I'm going to combine some of those details into one sentence. Make sure your family, your family has an evacuation plan in place and also signs up for a warning system. Let me go back and make sure that sign up for a. So this is combining several of my details. Now I didn't include everything about the before, but I included enough. Now I'm going to move on to detail 2, which is about the during. Now I'm going to talk about the during. And I'm going to use the new transition phrase, in the event that. That's a transitional phrase. In the event that you are caught in the middle of a tsunami. Follow the evacuation signs and get to higher ground. Now, as I mentioned to you, sometimes we just bullet our ideas in our notes, and then that's when we have to put them into complete sentences. So what I did was I took 2 bulleted ideas. I took the follow evacuation signs and get to higher ground, and I put that into one complete thought. Now let me continue with another transition word. Also, if you are in the water, grab on to a floating object such as a tree or door. Right, now I'm going to move on to my third paragraph, my third detail, that is about what happens after. Now, as I finish and talk about what you should do after, another transitional phrase would be, in the hope that you have survived the first wave. Here's what you should do after the tsunami. And I'm going to start with first, watch out for downed power lines in the water. Second, avoid disaster areas. And finally, pay attention to injured or stressed. Actually, pay attention to signs. Let me change that. Signs of injury or stress to yourselves or loved ones. Okay, so I know it seems like a lot, but these are the 3 details that I wanted to explain about how to prepare before, and we heard before, and then when you're in the middle of it, during, and then after. As I begin my conclusion, I'm going to use a new transitional word, which is, or phrase, as seen above. This is telling me to look back to the rest of my paragraph that I just wrote. So as seen above, being prepared can save your life. Period. Hopefully, the people of the American Samoa Islands did that in 2009. Now, as I said earlier and in my other videos, what I'm trying to explain to you is that your conclusion should talk about what we just discussed in our paragraph. Being prepared could save your life. And I'm also going to talk about what the next paragraph is going to be about, which is a famous disaster, tsunami, which is in the American Samoan Islands in 2009. So to recap everything, I made sure that my topic sentence included all of my details from my notes. I made sure that my notes were in an order that made sense and flowed by first talking about before, then in the middle of it, and then at the end of it if you've survived it. And then I've used transition words throughout. I said look for an example. I said in the event that you are caught in it. I said also in the hope that you have survived is another one. Then first, second, and finally. I've used lots of transitional words in my paragraph. And then again, to look at my conclusion, I made sure that my conclusion said goodbye to the paragraph that I'm in by summarizing it quickly and moving on and introducing my next paragraph. So remember, your conclusions should say goodbye to the paragraph you're in and say hello to the next one in a brief sentence. As you are writing your paragraph, keep in mind these little tips that we've talked about in the previous videos. Make sure your topic sentence supports all of your details. Group your details together and put them in an order that makes sense. Be sure to use transitional words and phrases between details. Make sure your closing sentence summarizes how to prepare and then introduces the next paragraph, a famous disaster. So at this time, you can stop the video. You can look at the other 2 videos from Thursday and from Tuesday to get the list of transitional words. And now you can write your detailed sentences for paragraph 3. When it is complete, please take a picture and send it to me to complete your assignment.